Deep within the National Archives sits a Tudor warrant book, a collection of bureaucratic records detailing 16th century crimes. Among the administrative entries is a specific passage where King Henry VIII explains precisely how he wanted his second wife, Anne Boleyn, to be executed. Henry claimed to be moved by pity to spare Anne from being burned at the stake. He instead commanded that her head be cut off, even arranging for an expert swordsman to perform the task with a single stroke. By 1536, Henry was an absolute authority. He had already broken with the Pope and reshaped English religion just to marry Anne, demonstrating a level of power that few in Europe could challenge. This creates a strange paradox. Since Henry had the power to simply eliminate an unwanted wife through quiet assassination or forced exile, his decision to subject her to a highly publicized legal trial seems unnecessary. Henry required more than Anne's death. He needed her execution to be undeniably legal. He understood that the most effective way to exert total control was to weaponize the law rather than ignore it. Tudor monarchs lacked a standing army, meaning their power rested on the cooperation of Parliament. Henry needed the nation to believe his actions were justified. A formal state trial provided the perfect stage for public propaganda. It allowed the crown to broadcast a narrative of betrayal that convinced the people the king was the victim of a wicked conspiracy. Thomas Cromwell, Henry's chief minister, acted as the architect of this legal coup. He was tasked with finding a way to solve the king's problem within the strict bounds of the law. Cromwell turned to the Treasons Act of 1534. This piece of legislation was originally designed to protect the new marriage, but Cromwell realized it could also be used to destroy it. The 1534 Act expanded treason significantly. It became a capital offense to simply imagine the king's death in words. This allowed Cromwell to redefine incautious gossip as a conspiracy to commit murder, transforming words into a death sentence. To begin the legal process, Cromwell interrogated the musician Mark Smeaton. Records suggest he used torture to extract a confession of adultery, providing the initial evidence needed to trigger the wider trial. Cromwell's strategy relied on stretching existing laws to their breaking point. He used the expanded legal definitions to give the king's personal desire for a new wife the appearance of a legitimate pursuit of justice. The trial maintained the outward appearance of fairness. Anne was judged by a jury of peers, providing citizens a convincing display of due process. In reality, the system was structurally rigged. The court presumed the defendant was guilty, placing the entire burden of proof on Anne. She was explicitly denied defense counsel to contest the claims, and the prosecution relied solely on written depositions she was powerless to challenge. Ironically, a common citizen accused of a misdemeanor actually had more rights, including a lawyer, than a queen facing high treason. Yet despite these imbalances, the trial followed the accepted legal standards of 1536, acting in a technically lawful manner. The trial operated as a procedural rubber stamp. It was a mechanism meticulously designed to launder a political execution through the respected institution of the law. The execution cleared the path for Henry's immediate goals. He quickly had the marriage annulled and stripped his daughter, Elizabeth, of her royal legitimacy and place in the succession. Henry married Jane Seymour just 11 days after Anne's death. With his previous marriage legally erased and his second wife executed, his pursuit of a male heir could begin again with a clean slate. The English public accepted this domestic bloodbath because the legal forms were carefully observed. Henry successfully used the courtroom as an engine of state, but by using the law as an agent of raw political will, he weakened the very system he claimed to uphold. Anne Boleyn was trapped by a perfectly engineered legal mechanism. Her fate illustrates the terrifying efficiency of a system repurposed to serve a single person. Anne's downfall was the Tudor justice system working exactly as intended. Henry's trial shows that when the law is used as a weapon of the state, it is no longer a shield for the innocent, but the most effective tool in a tyrant's arsenal.